We'll be starting in about a minute. All right, well, hello everybody, and thank you for attending today's webinar. Are you containerization ready? Presented to you by Crossville and Red Hat. And we want to thank Red Hat as one of our top partners that we work with for helping put this together. If you have any information or any questions or anything about Red Hat and you want to reach out to Crossville or redhat.com or crossville.com, we're here to help support you in your modernization needs. So today we're going to talk about how to be zero to capable in days, not months, when it comes to containerization. We're going to kind of talk a bit about history of containerization and then also the direction that things are going. So let me move there we go. So we'll do a quick introduction, understanding of the problem, challenge, the assumptions, solution to the problem, and why to solve this problem now. There is an exclusive offer if you hang out till the end that we'll be talking about near the end of this webinar that will allow you to gain free OpenShift subs for a year. So please hang out to the end and understand that exclusive offer. Also, there'll be a poll at the end for those that are wanting the Amazon gift card. So wait till the poll and then respond to that. And we will get rolling now. And my name is Todd Millard. I am the Chief Growth Officer at Crossville. So who is Crossville? So we've been around 22 years, and we actually provide a 24/7 service and support. We've won many accolades with Red Hat and have operations in North America as well as EMEA and Spain. And so we're here because this is an area of our business that we specifically focus on. We focus on automation, containerization, and app modernization. So we don't do everything for everybody, but we do a few things exceptionally well. And containerization is an area we've been doing for many, many years and have an expert team to be able to help you get where you need to go with containerization. Crossville's passion is our vision at Crossville is to be the leading provider of IT modernization services. We are passionately committed to delivering exceptional solutions that exceed our clients' expectations and build long-lasting relationship based on trust and integrity. We focus in on giving you the right solution that actually ensures your success and not just enablement, and then you're kind of stuck on your own trying to figure it out. So you can trust Crossville to help you get you the right solution. So let's understand the problem. Why is container competency not an option? This is a big issue, especially in 2023 moving forward as we see containerization becoming much more mainstream. And why at this point, if your enterprise is not container competent, why you're going to be left behind and why there's reasons that you really need to be looking at this as a major strategic item to put into your roadmap very quickly. So we'll first do a brief history of containerization. So if we look back into the early 2000s, we can trace containerization back to Solaris zones that were introduced in the early 2000s with Solaris 10. Then we look, as we fast forward to 2013, the Docker image made containers more accessible and user-friendly. So Docker started becoming a big deal kind of back in the early 2010s. And then Google created Kubernetes because as Docker started to expand, you needed to have a way to be able to run containers on multiple servers, and you needed to ensure high availability. And so they built a platform named Kubernetes and then released that as an open source platform. And over the years, Kubernetes has become the standard. So all of the organizations that are out there that are building anything related to containerization, Kubernetes is by far the standard across the network there. So we look at in 2016, OpenShift 3.0 was re-architected. So OpenShift actually was released in 2011. But then they moved it to a Kubernetes-based container platform and focused on enterprise-supported complete solution. So therefore, instead of just dealing with community Kubernetes, where you had to build a lot of stuff around it and had to understand how to architect a lot of the extra projects that you need around it to make it work, Red Hat went out and said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to build an enterprise grade and support this. And so that in 2016 really kind of OpenShift 3.0 started taking the scene there. In 2018, then EKS and AKS, so a couple of years later, they launched a Kubernetes-based solution to run in the cloud. And then we take a look at in 2018, Crossveil OpenShift managed services were released. So we created a managed service around OpenShift because we found operations teams were scared to death to take on the new platform because they didn't understand how to actually operate it and didn't want to be held accountable. So we developed a team that would support them way past what cluster maintenance does so that they could understand not only how to run a platform, but also what that platform could do for them in the future. Then OpenShift 4 was released and re-architected onto Kubernetes operators in CoreOS. This was released by Red Hat. And then Crossveil released the pod ops for OpenShift. And what this was is to create cluster operationalization as well as workload dynamic tuning that would work with the applications teams to understand how to onboard apps. So this removes, at this point, we removed the need for clients to have an OpenShift subject matter expert. This is the big problem that we've seen back then and still today is finding the experts that you hire and bring onto your team and retain can be very expensive and time consuming. It's hard to hire a skill set that you don't know whether you're hiring something good or not. So this is why we built the pod ops to remove the SME need. So we take a look at how over time people have moved into containerization. So first lift and shift, this basic stage here where people are building container environments and then moving things into the container environments without having tremendous rework done on those, just moving their existing monolithic applications to OpenShift. The next stage is refactoring. Then how do you refactor those applications into microservices so that you can then take advantages of some of the independently deployed scalable containers that would make it so that you could scale better and get more efficiency out of your infrastructure. And so now people are starting to take on those advantages by doing refactoring. And then cloud native, the final stage, organizations fully embrace cloud native development practices and build new applications from the ground up using microservices. This is important to understand because we're going to talk a bit about commercial off-the-shelf software a little later in this and how it's affecting everybody today, because the providers of commercial off-the-shelf software have gone through these types of stages as well. And many of them are now at the point where they've refactored or they're moving into cloud native where they're forcing you to have to take a container. So if you're not container competent, it's going to put you in a tough situation to deal with. How do I deal with now this critical platform that I use is now I'm not going to be able to get a new version because I don't have a container platform. So why understanding this is important. Like we talked about, forced into container competence, COTS containerizing, IT platforms containerizing. We have containers being disposable, so easier way to deal with security. Infrastructure efficiencies that are in demand, whether you're doing this on cloud or on-prem, getting more efficiency out of your infrastructure. After hours deployments and support cause attrition. So building an environment where you can do deployment cycles that won't force engineers into having to be there after hours. And then management demands that are coming down to IT teams where they need more results with less resources, ability to change quicker to stay competitive, also keeping up with security demands. And now the customer that is demanding always on solutions where they're saying, I don't want to have downtime, as well as factoring in the high cost of engineers, where engineers' salaries have gone up and the cost of getting engineers are more expensive, and that is affecting the costs of all
Yeah,
of
what's up?
this. So if we take a look at examples
Yeah,
of
1:30. Yeah.
costs, somebody needs to be muted.
Yes, I'm leaving the office at 1:30.
Could you mute them, Laura?
Then I'll be
So
there at I'll be there at 1:30 in your place.
examples of containerized commercial off-the-shelf software that are available in containers. So
Yeah,
the
I'll
reason why
leave at
I'm going
1:15.
through
So let
this,
me know by then. Cool. Thanks. Bye.
it's fine. All right. So the reason why I'm going into the containerized, the solutions that are actually containerized now is we're going to talk a bit about also solutions that are only coming as containers, meaning that if you have these and you want to move to a newer version, you're going to need to have a container competency in your environment, whether this is something you're running on-prem or you're running in the cloud. But what happens is you first start getting COT solutions that you're using that they start offering you this solution in a container. So this is step one. They say, hey, I can still deliver the solution the same way that you were getting it before, and you can still run it that way. Or I'm giving you this option. You can now run our solution in a container, and here I'll deliver it to you in that way. And so those that are container competent may make that move and say, okay, we're going to move this into our container environment instead of running it in VMs or in the cloud somewhere. So we take a look at like EAM systems. Here's some examples like IBM Maximo, Infor EAM. You take a look at artificial intelligence. You got like SAS Viya, you got TensorFlow, banking solutions, stuff like Oracle Banking Platform. You got supply chain management, Oracle CSM Cloud. You got IBM Sterling Supply Chain, warehouse management systems, SAP Extended Warehouse Management, JDA Warehouse Management. You got ERP systems out there as well, like SAP Cloud Application Programming Model. You got the Oracle Visual Builder Studio. So all of these now, if you're running any of these, and there's many more, this is just a very short list of some examples of solutions that you may buy that are now available in container. You could actually have a container environment, move these over into a container environment, and start getting the value out of being able to run in a Kubernetes-based environment like OpenShift. But you're not required to today because they also are delivering it just like you've always been getting it before. But if we take a look then, the next step of this, which is example of commercial off-the-shelf software platform and platforms with their versions that actually are saying, hey, if you want to run this version of it, you have to now take it in a container. So this starts to become a security risk because now the security team is going to say, hey, wait a minute here, we're not getting the updates because now you're out of support because you haven't been able to keep up with the new versions. And so again, this is just a list based off of research that we've done out there that says, hey, if you're running these types of solutions and you want to run into these versions, these ones, the organization is delivering to you in a container. And so as this list ages and you get to the point that the versions are unsupported that are non-containerized, now it starts to become a problem where it is a must-solve problem, where today it is getting to that point on certain platforms and solutions where you would like to make those upgrades, but some of these ones you're at a point that for me to keep up with security updates, you have to solve this problem. So this now becomes an issue where are you containerization ready? Now becomes urgent, where it says, yes, I have to have a solution for taking applications that we're using or applications that are being built and putting them in a container, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the security requirements. So this is an example of why we're seeing a huge influx of people moving to containerization, and why having a solution that could help you get zero to confident in weeks instead of months will help solve your problem so that you can learn what you need. So let's take a look at some of the assumptions. So the assumptions about containers, people look at containers before they move into it and they start to think about some of these assumptions out there. Containers are only for small applications. Well, that's not true. You can lift it. You can lift applications and you can put them into a container environment. Actually, we have customers that are running on bare metal that they're lifted VMs and drop VMs into containers. Containers are not secure. There's a lot of solutions out there that can actually help improve your security. So you're going to have just as good a security as what you'd have at the VM level, but now you also have additional security that you can have at the container level. So that's something that we can also help you with. Containers are not only our containers are only for cloud native applications. Well, as you can see, you have COTS solutions that are starting to come over into containers. You don't necessarily have to have an application team that is writing applications, cloud native applications, to then have the need to be container confident. Containers are not compatible with existing infrastructure. So we run environments anywhere, in the cloud, on-prem. We run them in IBM Power, like anywhere that you want to run them. We have the ability to run container environments. Containers require significant re-architecture. Not all immediately. Like you can lift and shift into containers and start moving away from your legacy systems. But yes, re-architecting them will get you more value. The whole idea here is to be able to squeeze more value out of your infrastructure by running a container environment. And that's that value you're going to get by doing some re-architecture. But that doesn't necessarily mean your whole application or a bunch of applications are all going to have to be massively rewritten. There's some analysis that should be done to take a look at where you're going to get the most value. Containers are too expensive. Actually, in the long run, you'll end up saving money. Like anything, when you change from one paradigm to another, there is going to be some costs on making that shift. But over the long run, you will actually end up having cost savings because of the value you're going to get out of the cost savings in the infrastructure, as well as the access to the COTS solutions that are now being delivered in containers. Containers are only for developers. Well, yeah, I mean, developers historically have pushed a lot of the need for containers, where they're saying, hey, we want to have a place to put this, and we're developing this app in a container, and then the IT organization or infrastructure organization is trying to keep shadow IT from happening. So they're going, okay, we need to figure out how to run containers. So a lot of this comes from developers, but like I said, with these COTS solutions that are now being delivered in containers, this is now becoming more something where the operations team needs to understand how to operate containers. Containers will lock me into a platform. In fact, it's the exact opposite. All the dependencies are built into the container, and this is the reason why the COTS providers are actually building things in containers and moving and delivering them that way, because for them it is cheaper to build a container or build their application in a container and deliver it to you with all the dependencies built into that container than have to deal with supporting many different types of environments and deal with delivering their monolithic application to you in many different ways. So if the providers of solutions that you currently have are not delivering to you in containers, they will, because their operating cost will go down, because it will be less expensive for them to maintain the container. Containers are not mature enough. A few years ago, 2-3 years ago, we were seeing a lot of the early adopters that were really kind of making this move into containers because they saw the value early. Today, it is way past the maturity stage. Like if you're not confident in containers today, you're already behind. Containers are difficult to manage. There is some complexity in managing containers, and this is where Kubernetes comes in to help with that. But as these environments evolve and change, there is a need to have subject matter experts around this, and that can be daunting. But this is where Crossville has provided a solution called PodOps, where we can come in and we actually can manage those with operationalization that we've already done across the planet with other customers that can help you understand how to get this done very, very quickly. And then hold your hand for a period of time while you're learning how to operate the containers. So it takes away all that risk on difficulty as you're moving from one paradigm of VMs into the next paradigm, which is containerization. So when you look at all these assumptions, we see apathy that happens inside organizations as they say, well, we can kind of wait. Let's wait until we understand these assumptions, and this is not going to be something that's a big deal to us today. Well, the cost of waiting is high. And so what we're finding in organizations that continue to wait is the increased technical debt as they continue to maintain things in the way that they have in the past, not upgraded to containers, which will simplify that, as well as not being able to keep up with your COTS providers moving to containerization. Increased operational costs. Well, the traditional IT environments require a lot of manual intervention. Cost of engineers are going up. So that means your operational cost is going up on that. And I actually have a way that we can operate the container platform for you cheaper than you would be able to do it yourself with your own engineers. Reduced agility and flexibility. It's harder to respond to changes in the business. This is a big line of business issue here because containerized environments that you're dealing with microservices and you have DevOps and CI/CD built into the containerized environments now give you tremendous flexibility and agility to make business changes quickly, and IT is not the one holding the business back. Reduced competitiveness, falling behind competitors because they're actually doing this and they can make changes quicker and your business can't. So this becomes a issue in staying competitive for the business in the marketplace. And then increased security risk. So containerization provides more secure approach to application risk. And there's many different, very well-defined solutions around how you can do this at the container build, as well as during runtime on how to better secure what you have running inside your containerized environments. So what's the solution to the problem? So I've mentioned this before, PodOps for OpenShift. So PodOps provides an organization with the ability to immediately become confident in containerization while developing the internal skills needed to dynamically make changes about your modern ecosystem. So the key here is immediately become confident. What we have found over the years of working with organizations, from the time they start to the time they start to feel confident about critical workloads, it's normally at least 9 months has passed during this time. So what this is a lot of cost and expense and learning and reinventing the wheel that happens during this period of time that you can cut out, and you can move directly into getting critical workloads into the containerized environment and start getting the value much quicker by employing something like PodOps that can come in and solve this problem for you. So if you're not aware of what OpenShift is, and there's actually a complete presentation that we can do on OpenShift. So this next slide is just a very high level of what OpenShift is. I would recommend getting with either with Crossville or with your Red Hat rep to really get to understand the details of what OpenShift is and how it plays in the marketplace. It has a 48% market share of the enterprise Kubernetes market. So at 48%, you can expect it is the leading platform that is out there. And the reason why is because it is a complete enterprise supported Kubernetes-based container ecosystem. So first you take the number one container engine, which is Kubernetes, and now you pair that with Red Hat, which is the very best open source company on the planet to be able to support this. And what they do is they not only take Kubernetes, but they fill in all these other projects around it that you need to be able to have all the pieces you need for it to be enterprise ready. And I'll show you a slide later on that talks about all of those projects that you need to make a Kubernetes environment work, that Red Hat does that already for you. So if we look at the top 5 benefits of Red Hat, it's integrated platform. So OpenShift combines Kubernetes with monitoring, logging, CI/CD pipelines, streamlined development and deployment. It's all in one. You don't have to try to figure out how to build this, how to put all these pieces together, and how to maintain all of those pieces. Developer productivity. So OpenShift offers self-service capabilities, supporting various programming languages and frameworks to enhance developer productivity. Developers are screaming for this. If you don't have self-service for your developers, they're spending a lot of time wasting time and dealing with administrative tasks so they can get their environments where they need them so that they can actually be productive. Your productivity of your developers will rise tremendously by moving to a containerized environment. If you are not a development team and you use a lot of commercial off-the-shelf software, this running them in containers makes it easier for your deployments and changes that need to be done. And if you're doing integrations, building the microservices and integrations, all of these things can lower your costs of how you connect those COTS solutions together. Enterprise grade security. OpenShift prioritizes security with built-in controls, RBAC, and integration with external security solutions for compliance needs. That's a mouthful. Basically, if we look over here and you see OpenShift Plus up here, actually Red Hat has gone out and built into one of their subscription models a security solution that will solve this problem for you. But there's also a bunch of other solutions out there, maybe some that you might already be using, that can also solve this. So enterprise grade security is built in to help you get the most out of that. Scalability and high availability. OpenShift simplifies scaling through automated load balancing and handling of node failures and reliability for high availability. The thing here is we can build scalable environments. So like you take an example of like a organization like Ticketmaster, where at 10 a.m. on a Monday, they might be selling concert tickets. And they're going to need much more demand on their infrastructure than they're going to need maybe just 2 hours, 2 hours from that time. So OpenShift has scalability built in to auto scale those environments to be able to provide the resources needed so that your customers, like such as Ticketmaster's customers, would not see a problem with not being able to get access to that environment. You take a look at banks, and we do a lot of work in banks. Probably 50% of our business is in the banking sector. And on a Friday or on a payday, the demand for online banking is going to go up. And then so this definitely auto scaling can be something that can be built in so you're not having issues with customers not getting access to their data. Ecosystem and support. OpenShift benefits from Red Hat ecosystem, providing certified container images, middleware services, and professional support for accelerated development. So Red Hat continuously every day is refining the system. An interesting thing here is certified container images. So you don't have to go out there and download container images from unknown locations and worry about security risks in there. Red Hat goes in and certifies container images for you to use in OpenShift so that you don't have to worry about what's coming down. That type of stuff, as well as the middleware services that are built to work best in containers, such as Fuse, AMQ, AMQ Streams, which is a supported version of Kafka, as well as if you have Java-based programs or Java-based applications that you're running. Quarkus is a supported language that is designed specifically to run in containers and work with OpenShift and creates much better efficiency in applications than what you would even get out of Spring Boot running in a OpenShift or Kubernetes environment. So Red Hat goes in, these top 5 benefits here. There's a lot more, like we can go into a 50 slide deck, 50 slides to talk about what OpenShift brings to the table. But the thing to remember is it is the only enterprise grade solution on the market that you can run in your own data center or run in the cloud that you're going to be able to hold on, let me make sure my computer doesn't die here. Okay. So what is managed OpenShift versus pod ops for OpenShift? So again, 0 to confident in days, not months. So what we're looking at here, what is managed OpenShift versus pod ops for OpenShift? So there's organizations out there that say they're a fully managed provider. So they're giving you basically system admin, cloud computing, network troubleshooting. So they're going to say your cluster is healthy. You have a problem, something's not working right. You're going to reach out to this organization that's managing our environment, and they're going to be like, well, let me check. Okay, yep, cluster's healthy, nodes are healthy. So something on your end, something you have running in there is causing this problem. What Crosswell brings to the table with our pod ops solution is OpenShift subject matter experts, DevSecOps, DevOps, deployment collaboration, security, and troubleshooting. So when something's going wrong inside the environment, you're not getting the right performance, you need some help in that environment. Instead of just getting clusters healthy and you have to have an SME that's going to go in and figure this out, we're going to work with you on root cause analysis. We're going to work with you to understand what's going on in your application, monitor those applications, actually build proactive maintenance on there so that we can solve problems before they actually happen, as well as reactive maintenance that we are tied into your ITSM. So it's much more than what you're going to get from just cluster maintenance. We're also working with your development teams. The big one here is deployment collaboration. So when new workloads are going to come into an OpenShift environment, the number one thing that we see that people fail in is they originally build an OpenShift environment and they have a static solution there. They go, hey, this is how we're going to make these decisions around what the pods look like and what the containers look like and how we're going to deal with this. But each deployment may have different requirements, and those requirements may change, and you have to be able to analyze what's going on in the environment and then adjust the quotas and the way the resources are divided up so you can get the value out of that environment. Many organizations that we go into that's already running OpenShift, we go do an assessment and we find out you may be overquoted by as much as 50% because the organization is making decisions like they did in the VM world, which they built bigger than what they needed and threw more resources at it when the developer was saying, hey, I'm having problems here. Okay, let's spin up more monoliths of this to be able to just throw more resources at this. In OpenShift, there's a lot of other ways you can get a lot more value out of your infrastructure by making the right decisions dynamically about it. And that's where most organizations don't even end up having what we're doing to help them as a cost, because by the time they have the savings, it ends up saving them more than what we're charging to be able to manage your environment. So what do you get for OpenShift or when you're getting pod ops for OpenShift? Not only platform confidence, which we're talking about running it anywhere, design, build, configure, operationalization, maintain, and subscriptions all built in. So you don't have to come up with some waterfall SOW on how to build your environment and spend months trying to figure out, am I making a good decision or not? We have a prescriptive approach to come in, and then we can iterate on that environment over time as we're understanding what your workloads are. Also workload excellence. So this is dynamic tuning, custom telemetry, workload onboard support, as well as resource management. All things where we see even mature customers are struggling in Kubernetes because you have to make dynamic decisions on this. So you have to understand how the environment is running to be able to make those dynamic decisions. And what's going to end up happening is this is going to give you the domain outcomes that you need. So what domain you're in, healthcare, banking, whether you're in retail, you're going to have these outcomes that you're looking for the stuff that's running in those environments. And this is going to enable you to be able to have those outcomes without having to clearly understand everything that's happening below on the Kubernetes OpenShift platform. What to expect from pod ops: platform build, ops onboarding, Red Hat subs. We have a standard way that we go in and help build this, but we also are a custom solution provider. So when we're coming in, we're going to understand what's your particular workloads, what are you looking for, where do you want to run it, and let's create a design that's going to work best to be able to get the most out of it. Our platform builds include advanced cluster management and ACS, which is the security platform from Red Hat. So we have that built in to simplify running it hybrid. You want to run some on-prem, you want to run some in the cloud, you want to run in 3 different clouds, whatever you need based off of where your data is and where your clients are, we can adjust that to run anywhere you need, even on bare metal. And what to expect from pod ops: platform confidence, workload excellence, as well as 24/7, 365 SLAs. So you can see SEV 1, we got a 30-minute response time, 2-hour resolution time. If we look at the platform confidence requirement on here, we're actually going to get you to the point that you can understand the platform because we're handling that for you. And then workload excellence, you're going to understand what's going on in your workloads. You're not going to have to guess what's going on in your workloads. So there are 2 factors to ensure your success. You need to have platform confidence. So you won't run critical workloads in your platform until you're confident that you know if an issue happens, you know exactly how to deal with it because it could be a major problem for your customer. We learn what your RPO and RTO requirements are. It will help you build the DR strategies around that as well to make sure that if there is a disaster, we can help you make sure that that is solved. But also just from a standpoint of just things running in an environment, you got to be confident. If you're not confident, you won't run critical workloads, and then you're not going to get the value out of it. Application excellence, you need to understand how to make sure that the applications that you're running in there, you're going to get the most out of them. So you need to have somebody that understands how this interacts with the platform in a way that's going to be able to get you that value. 0 to confident in days, not months. Knowledge, what we find most people struggle with is they lack the skills. So they go out there and try to get the skills, but it's hard to hire these skills, especially when you don't know how to interview for them. Shared specialists. So because we're running multiple environments across multiple customers, you're not having to pay for a resource 100% because everything is spread out across multiple customers. Difficulty retaining the knowledge. So what we found is people hire people, train them, they start to understand the environment, they become quite skilled in Kubernetes or OpenShift, and then poachers come and they start poaching your people because they go, you've already invested all this time and energy into them, but I have a need for them, so I'm gonna try to poach these people. And then you're back in that cycle again, trying to maintain that knowledge. Cost of resources are continually going up. Not knowing what you don't know is very expensive. This is rebuilding clusters, making static decisions around how you built your Kubernetes environment. Consulting forces you into waterfall. So when you come in and say, I just want enablement, now this forces you in to try to figure out, what do I really need? I don't know very much about this, so I have to go in and I have to gain all this knowledge so I understand what I really need, versus moving into a more agile fashion with pod ops, where over a year, we're building right up front, get you going, start moving workloads in, and you're gaining all this knowledge across time in your own environment, not having to do a bunch of academic research. And we mentor your staff. And then organizations really want business outcomes. What we're providing you is the capability of just having a business outcome. You can come in here and say, this is what I want to run. My people know the application that's running in here, and I need somebody to take care of the platform. Or the business outcome is 12 months out, we've handed off the platform back to you, and you've learned everything, and everything we put into your environment, we run with you, all stays, all the operationalization, all the way that we built the proactive maintenance, all that stuff is all stuff that's in your environment that's custom to you, that stays with that environment. It's not something that when we leave, we take with us. Why organizations struggle to do this? Well, here's all the projects that Red Hat is maintaining inside OpenShift. So these are the skill sets that you need to be able to have and maintain to really get the most value out of this. Whether you're buying OpenShift or you're buying another Kubernetes solution, this is the same. You will need to have skill sets around these types of projects. Other providers may have different projects that they chose, so you would have different solutions. Many of them, you have to actually add these types of things to your environment manually, and you'll have to understand how to integrate with that. That's why OpenShift is clearly the best enterprise solution, because they are providing you with a complete solution by maintaining all of this for you and making sure that it's secure as well as maintained. So let's talk money here. Pod ops for OpenShift, 24/7, 365. Virtualized pod ops on OpenShift. So this is a 12-month commitment. We'll design, enable, build, configure, and operationalize your environment. This includes the subscriptions for the platform. You can scale on demand, run it anywhere. You're putting it on-prem, public cloud, SaaS. This doesn't include the underlying infrastructure. If you're doing it in the cloud, we do have capabilities where we can maintain the underlying infrastructure for you as well. So you don't even have to deal with the EC2 instances or the Azure VMs, or running it in ROSA or on ARO. We also work with that as well. Application deployment support with dynamic platform tuning, run hybrid if needed. DR and backup is something that we'll help you understand how to add that, but there may be more costs involved on DR and backup because your environment might change. No SMEs needed for you to develop, so you don't have to go out there and try to find OpenShift experts and hire them and bring them in. So this starts for 48 virtual CPUs, which is basically 2 or 3 clusters, depending upon how you build this out. We normally do lab, non-prod, and prod. $12,998 a month is where this starts at. So very affordable, gets you going, and 12 months from now, we could hand the environment off to you. Nobody ever does. They continue to use us. We have zero attrition because they find we can do this cheaper than they could do it themselves, and our staff is amazing at doing this. And your people end up understanding how to squeeze more out of the workloads or do other things that are important to the organization. On-demand scaling. So here, like, we have it broken down as your nodes increase the number of virtual CPUs, the cost of the service goes down. So you get lower and lower cost per virtual CPU. So as your environment gets bigger, the per virtual CPU scales down. We also work with a partner, Portworx, to deal with backup and DR. They're exceptional at backup and DR, and so we have a way to get that into your environment as well. Many different options there on how we build that. But if you're really interested, like, you look at this and you go, we've been thinking about a containerized environment, or we're interested in OpenShift. We're just trying to figure out how to get rolling with this. Ask us about PodOps Level Up exclusive offer, where you can get 1 year of 20 virtual CPUs for free. So we're offering this out there. We're going to put a poll up at the end to ask if you have interest in participating in that exclusive offer. This would be 5 OpenShift Plus subscriptions that you would get free with your environment. There's some minimum requirements on that, you like to be able to qualify for that, but most people that aren't running OpenShift currently will qualify for that. Even ones that are running OpenShift in other parts of their organization will qualify for that. So this is a very good, huge value here to take advantage of. So later on, when we put the poll up, if you're interested in taking advantage of that, make sure you select that you are interested in that. Value of PodOps for OpenShift: reduce time to confident, 900%. Remember, I was saying we can get you up and confident very quickly. So confident in a month versus 9 months. So you can start and have critical workloads working in your environment in a month. You can move your COTS solutions over very quickly. Reduce time to start. So instead of having to spend a quarter trying to figure out how am I going to learn enough so that I can build out a statement of work with this consulting organization and have them enable us, we can get you going very quickly. So weeks, not months or quarters to get rolling. Remove risk of failure. We've never had a PodOps customer fail. Every single customer we've ever had has always been successful. Remove vendor lock-in. By moving to containerization, you're actually creating applications that and COTS solutions that are very portable. You can move to any containerized environment. So you're removing that risk of vendor lock-in like you might find in some exclusive cloud solutions. Reduce team stress. Well, actually, on vendor lock-in, also because we leave everything we build with you, you even don't have vendor lock-in with CrossFit. You have the capability of training your team and them taking over the environment and running this environment in your own organization if that's what you desire. And we'll actually mentor you on how to do that. Reduce team stress. When you start taking away the requirements for team members to have to be up after hours to do deployments and on weekends. Now you're reducing that stress. 3 a.m. on Saturday night, nobody's getting a call saying there's a problem in the environment, because our team is the one that's actively handling those calls proactively, and then also from a reactive stature on this. So massively reduces the stress as you move into a new platform that many organizations struggle with. Subscription compliance. So we have many different ways that you can purchase your OpenShift solution. We sell OpenShift in all the different ways that it's possible, whether you want to run it in the cloud, you want to run it in Rosa, you want to run it on your own environment on VMs, you want to run it on bare metal, all of that stuff. We can help design what you need and provide you with the subscriptions you need. And we're the highest level subscription provider available. So you'll be able to get the best deal on subscriptions through our PodOp service. Choose your infrastructure. Like I said, run it anywhere. You come to us. I haven't had anybody bring us an environment that we haven't been able to run OpenShift in. Scoped custom build for the platform. So we have a standard build, but if you have very specialized requirements, certain compliance requirements, like I said, we do a lot of work in banks, we can create custom build solutions around that and then support those solutions as well. And then operationalization. You don't have to figure out how to operationalize this environment. We do it for you. Not only our standard methods with our proactive maintenance and all the automation we're bringing to the table from what we've learned in every other customer over the last 5 years, but also the stuff that you need that's unique to your organization. We're going to tie that in and help you guys operationalize it so that you get what you need out of it. Features for workload excellence. Cluster maintenance will make sure the cluster is running and proactively solve those problems. We're dealing with upgrades for the system, whether they're the minor upgrades or major upgrades. Telemetry and proactive automation. So we're going in there and monitoring stuff. We'll work with the application team so they understand how to monitor the applications. Workload onboarding. This is where your teams are going to onboard applications. We're going to take a look at what the needs are before that's going to happen, so you don't crash the cluster with new applications and new workloads onboarding. Dynamically tuning. We're constantly 24/7, 365 watching the cluster to validate what's going on in there, and then reporting that stuff back. Our team will spend 22 hours a month with your team members so that you guys understand what we're doing and how we're doing it in different types of meetings that we have weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, to be able to make sure you guys understand what's going on in that environment, as well as the mentoring. We're working with your guys. So when we leave your organization, people understand how to make decisions, not how to check a list. A lot of times you get enablement, consulting comes in, builds some things for you. They give you a list. Hey, here's how to validate that this environment is working. When moving to a dynamically changing environment like containerization, you have to understand how to make decisions with what's going on, not just go through a checklist. And that's the part that we bring to the table that you don't find anywhere else. You're not going to find this from any other service provider that is managing your platform, where your guys will understand how to make decisions. Top 10 reasons to standardize on PodOps for OpenShift. Guaranteed success. No interviews of SMEs you don't know how to hire. That is a pain in the ass. Everybody loves doing interviews, right? Especially on a technology you don't know. No late night deployments for ops team. Proactive maintenance reduces downtime. No marathon support calls with Red Hat. We get on the call and do the support calls with Red Hat for you, so you don't have to do that. Ask an expert that knows your environment. That's us. We are inside the environment, working it every day. If something is going on, or you want to do something different, or you need to understand something, or something is going to change in there, our guys are going to be able to engage with you. You're going to have named resources that would be in the environment. This is not just a service level account. Operational integration with your ITSM. So the major ITSM we mostly integrate with is ServiceNow, but we can integrate with any of the ITSMs. Mentoring is more effective than training. Buying a 1-week training class and then expecting that you are going to be able to understand how to dynamically change things is going to be difficult. As our team is mentoring you over a year, you guys understand the platform. Our team learns from other environments. We see other things happen, changes, upgrades, stuff has happened in other environments, and we're starting to see things not react the way they should. We understand how to look into your environment and see if you're going to have that problem and how to make sure that you don't. And we do it cheaper and better with better outcomes than DIY, than you can do it yourself. So these are the top 10 reasons to standardize on us. I think I already, going the wrong direction, sorry. Why solve now? Containerization train has already left the station. If you're not on it, you're going to have to catch up. So this is not a recommendation. This is a fact. And everybody will move to containerization, just like everybody moved to virtualization. What's next? So we do 4 onboardings a month. So our next onboarding slot is June 26th. So we'll build, assess, operationalize. Takes us 2 weeks to get through that phase. We have to have contracts signed 3 weeks before onboarding. Like I said, 48 virtual CPUs, 2 clusters, $12,998 a month is where we start at. You have to have at least 48 virtual CPUs minimum. Second year actually comes down because the build cost is taken out. So you actually have a lower contract the second year. So it goes down to 10,833. Remember, this includes your subs as well. Backup and DR for that size environment is just under 20,000 annually, and price includes your Red Hat subs. Annual pricing discounts are available also if you pay by the year rather than by the month. And then the documents that we need to sign is NDA, MSA, and the service agreement. Next steps, understand your situation, see if PodOps is right for you. There's 2-year commitment if you're going with the backup and DR, 1-year commitment on just standard PodOps. Reach out to sales@crossvale.com. That is sales@crossvale.com. Again, I'm going backwards. Thank you very much. I think we ended right on time. We have a couple surveys. They're going to go out right now for you to be able to select. All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Please reach out to Crossvale if you have any questions, and we will be at Summit. If you want to stop by our booth, we'll be there. We can discuss anything you have around automation, containerization, or app modernization. Look forward to seeing you guys at Summit. All right, Laura, I'm going to drop off.
Yes, we will send a copy of the slides
Yep.
later today. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.